Hello, and thank you for joining our video series on the Local School Wellness Policy Triennial Assessment for School Meal Sponsors. My name is Sarah McKee, and I'm joining you today from the University of Connecticut's Rudd Center for Food Policy and Health. In these videos, we will walk you through the steps to complete your Triennial Wellness Policy Assessment. The USDA's final rule for local school wellness policy implementation requires all school food authorities to complete a review of their local school wellness policy every 3 years, that is, triennially. The first triennial assessment was due June 30th, 2020, but the USDA issued waivers to extend this deadline due to the COVID-19 pandemic. This means that initial triennial assessment dates vary across several years. To determine when your district, school, or institution's next triennial assessment is due, check your records to find out when your first assessment was completed. Your next triennial assessment should be due 3 years after your initial assessment, but you should check with your state agency to verify. The triennial assessment requires school food authorities to compare their school wellness policy to a model policy, assess their district, school, or institution's compliance in both policy and practice with the federal requirements and any additional requirements that are in their wellness policy, document their progress towards meeting wellness goals, and share the assessment with the public and during their next administrative review. Our goal with these videos is to break down these requirements into manageable pieces to help you complete the assessment. We have broken the process down into 4 steps. Detailed instructions and videos showing how to navigate the website are provided for each step. First, you will need to compare your policy against model policy guidelines. To do this, you will complete the Wellness School Assessment Tool for Policy, or WellSAT policy. This tool measures the strength and comprehensiveness of your written policies. Then you will need to assess the practices that are taking place within your schools. To do this, you will complete the WellSAT practice, which is the sister tool to the WellSAT policy. Next, you will need to compare your written policy to the practices taking place in your schools and summarize these results. To do this, you will compare your WellSAT policy and WellSAT practice scores. Then you will summarize your findings using prompts to assist you. And finally, you will need to share your assessment with the public and at your next administrative review. To do this, you will download the report generated at the end of the process and post it to your district, school, or institution's website. You will also need to retain your documents from this process for your next administrative review. Keep in mind that each state sets its own requirements for completing the triennial assessment. You may be required to use forms provided by your state to report your results or to use specific tools to measure your policy and practices. You should follow your state agency's requirements, but feel free to use our process to assist you along the way. Let's talk briefly about the Wellness School Assessment Tool, or WellSAT. The WellSAT includes 6 sections, each of which is applicable to the triennial assessment. These include 4 sections aligned with the whole school, whole community, whole child, or WISC model, including nutrition environment and services, nutrition education, part of the health education domain, physical education and physical activity, and employee wellness. It also includes items covering policies and practices required by federal regulations and topics relating to the integration and coordination of policies. Now that we're familiar with the triennial assessment and the WellSAT, let's get started with a quick introduction to how to use the online tool. To access the WellSAT, go to wellsat.org using your internet browser. If you want to view the items without creating an account or logging in, find the Preview Questions box on the home page, then click Learn More. Here you can see each WellSAT item and its scoring guidance. You can expand and contract the items to show or hide the scoring guidance. Clicking Next will take you to the next section of questions. To return to the home page, click the back arrow in the left corner of your screen or the Exit button in the upper right. If you would like to save your scores or complete a triennial assessment using the WellSAT site, you should register for an account. Click the Register button in the upper right. Then, enter your information on the form. All fields are required, which helps ensure that other users from your district, school, or institution can locate your scores at a later date if needed. When you are done, check the reCAPTCHA box, then click Submit. Once you have registered for an account on the site, you can log in anytime by clicking Get Started or Log In. You will need to enter the email address and password you used when creating your account. If you forget your password at any time, click the Forgot Password link to recover your account. Once you are logged in, you will see a list of any assessments you have completed since the November 2024 website update. To import assessments created before this update, click the Copy V3 Assessment button, then select the assessment you would like to copy over. Click the Copy button and it will be added to your dashboard. To create a new assessment, click the red Create New Assessment button in the upper left. In the box that appears, enter your information for your assessment. If you are completing a triennial assessment, click the relevant box or boxes. Otherwise, choose a name for your assessment, which you can use to identify it on your dashboard. If you will be scoring policies at individual schools within a district rather than scoring the practices at a district level, use the school name in your assessment name and create a new assessment for each school you will be scoring. Select your state, county, and district or school from the drop-down menus. If your district, school, or institution is not listed, select District Not Found and type your district, school, or institution's name in the box. For the assessment date, select the month and year in which you are completing the assessment. If you are scoring an older wellness policy, you can use the date of the policy for this date instead. Finally, if you would like to copy answers from a previously completed assessment, select the name of the assessment from the drop-down menu. If you completed the assessment on a previous version of the WellSat website, you will first need to use the Copy V3 Assessment button to copy over the assessment, then you can create your new assessment. When creating a name for your assessment, remember that others from your district or state may need to find your assessment by name, so you will want to be descriptive. You should also avoid abbreviating the name too much. For example, write out Springfield Public Schools rather than abbreviating to SPS. Longer terms that will be widely understood, such as Independent School District or Consolidated School District, may be abbreviated. We suggest using the format shown to name your triennial assessment, your district, school, or institution's name, followed by triennial assessment, and then the year. Some examples are shown here. To share an assessment, you first need to create the assessment that will be shared. Then, click the Sharing button from your dashboard. Check that the assessment selected in the drop-down menu is the correct one. Then, type in the email address of the user with whom you would like to share the assessment. Please note that users must have an account on the WellSat site before you can share an assessment with them. Click the Share button when you are finished entering the required information. Now, let's orient you to the list of your assessments. You will see the names you have entered for your assessments on the far left of your dashboard. Click the Notebook to view or add notes about the assessment, such as information about the policies used for scoring or the names of personnel who helped complete the assessment. The date shown is the date that you entered when you created an assessment. Typically, this will be the month and year during which you are completing the assessment, but you can also use the date to indicate the effective date of an older policy. The LEA column is the district, school, or institution's name that you selected or entered when you created your assessment. To edit the scoring of an existing assessment, click the Policy, Practice, or Triennial buttons under Edit Scoring. If practice or triennial links are missing, this means that the previous section has not been completed. To view your scorecard for each section, click the corresponding button in the scorecard column. If the link to the scorecard is missing, that means the section has not been completed. The ellipses on the right side of the screen can be used to edit the name, date, and LEA details for your assessment, share your assessment, or archive your assessment to hide it from your view. As you proceed with the WellSat, an instructions button will appear in the upper right of the assessment screen. Click on this to view instructions that are specific to the WellSat policy, WellSat practice, and triennial assessment. It's important to note that the WellSat times out after 1 hour of inactivity. You will be logged out of your account and need to log in to continue the assessment. However, the assessment saves your responses as you go, so your work will not be lost. We hope you will find these video instructions informative. To get started with your triennial assessment, proceed to the WellSat policy. For more information about the WellSat, please visit the Rudd Center and WellSat websites.